We heartily welcome him. I request Comrade Bopati to kindly escort him to the desk.
अब जिस घड़ी का मुझे, हमें और आपको सभी को इंतज़ार था, वो घड़ी समीप आ गई हैं। मैं जो कुछ भी बोल रहा हूँ, इस स्पीच के बाद में आप खुद बोलेंगे कि हमें तुम्हें सुनने को और दिल करता है। फूल भी सूख गए हैं उनके इंतज़ार में, क्योंकि पहले दिन ही उन्हें आना था। लेट मी इंट्रोड्यूस हिम। ये बहुत बड़ा है, 2 पेज उनका बायोडाटा। मैं ये बिगर पढ़े ही, क्योंकि आप खुद जान जाओगे कि वो क्या चीज़ है। मैं डायरेक्टली इनवाइट करता हूँ वेद प्रकाश जी मिश्रा को हमें संबोधन करने के लिए। थैंक यू।
Esteemed office bearers and dignitaries on and off the dais, my esteemed friend Shri Bobate ji, I deem it my one of the greatest pleasures to be midst of this very erudite, very learned gathering of ignited minds under the aegis of this very notable conference of AIBEA. At a place in an auditorium which stands as a milestone of toiling for the masses in a selfless manner, diligently named as a mark of salutation to one of the greatest trade unionists of this country, Comrade H.L. Parwana. Paying my humble tributes in respect to the fond memory of Parwana ji, and of course, a legendary figure that was generated from this very city of Nagpur, late Comrade A.B. Bardhan. And I have very fond memories of my association with him, because I was a student of that Saraswati Vidyalaya right from my standard 1 to standard 11th, where Mrs. Bardhan was my teacher in biology, and it was that biological teaching of that great biology teacher that resulted in generation of this small little family background holder with PRAKASH Mishra to be a doctor in the real sense. Ladies and gentlemen, there cannot be a better pleasure, better joy, and better satisfaction than addressing this significant, vital gathering of genuinely ignited minds. I don't have to tell you anything new and novel, because the nature of the pursuit that AIBEA and its all members have been associated with, the nature of the heroic struggle and the historicity that they have as a part of the legacy, the nature of the historicity and the trends that they have at their backdrop, there is hardly anything advisory in nature and pattern that is required to be put across to people of your stature, people of your eminence, people of your devotion, people of your dedication, and people of your standing. And therefore, I am not putting across any advisory in any manner because I find myself too small and too humble to be putting that across. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, there could not have been a better forum, a better plank, and a better platform for me to be putting across concerns and challenges which are really confronting the contemporary India at this juncture of time. Ladies and gentlemen, basically we always contemplated that men are born free, and therefore men are entitled to live free and die free. Historical declarations in the name of the human charter emanating right from the declarations of French Revolution. The entire concept of liberalism was basically for the purposes of unshackling of men from any and every chain of bondage and slavery. And therefore the cardinal values of life, not in terms of doled out charity to anybody, but as fundamental proposition being his or her right, turned out to be the real edifice of what you call as liberalized humanism. The cardinal values which ultimately got reflected in the preamble of the Constitution of this country, in terms of a guarantee being put across by the state as a custodian of 4 important parables incorporated, namely liberty, equality, fraternity, and justice. Not in terms of any charity from anybody, not in terms of any gift from anybody, not in terms of any दान दाता कमिंग एंड उदारता के साथ दान की झोली के अंतर्गत भीख के नाम पर लोगों को याचक बना करके उसकी झोली में डाल दिए जाने की प्रक्रिया, परंतु मूलभूत रूप से उसके अधिकारों का एक पूरा का पूरा अवाका भारतीय संविधान ने आर्टिकल 12 से लेकर 32 के अंतर्गत चैप्टर 3 फंडामेंटल राइट्स के नाम पर खींच दिया. It's a guarantee, ladies and gentlemen. And therefore the honoring of that guarantee is not a matter of charity. And therefore the first dictum which I am wanting to be putting across with all clarity at my mind is, every citizen in this country, in terms of any status, any color, any proposition, is entitled to parity and not is at the mercy of any charity, is the first dictum which has to be borne in mind. इसलिए उदारता के साथ में दान की झोली के नाम पर याचक बना करके लोगों को याचक बनाने की प्रक्रिया भारतीय संविधान के अंतर्गत संवैधानिक तरीके से कहीं पर किसी प्रारूप के अंतर्गत मुखरित नहीं है. ये बुनियादी तौर के ऊपर में स्थापत्य का एक भाव है. एंड दे आर जस्टिसिएबल. क्वेश्चन इज preamble a slogan or preamble a reality or preamble a goal, and therefore what is the status of that particular guarantee which has been put across? Ladies and gentlemen, equality does not mean a slogan. Equality कोई घोष वाक्य नहीं है, इक्वालिटी कोई बोध वाक्य नहीं है. इक्वालिटी के 2 आर्म्स हैं, एक आर्म का नाम है इक्विटी और दूसरी आर्म का नाम है इक्विटेबिलिटी. Equity and equitability therefore turn out to be the 2 balancing focus of a fulcrum which is called as equality. संविधान केवल इक्वालिटी के तकाजे पर नहीं रुकता है. वो इक्वालिटी के 3 संदर्भ स्थापित किए संविधान ने कि इक्वालिटी इन टर्म्स ऑफ दैट विच इज सोशल इन नेचर, इक्वालिटी दैट विच इज इकोनॉमिक इन नेचर, इक्वालिटी दैट विच इज पॉलिटिकल इन नेचर. The greatest achievement which Constitution right from the day one was in a position to enforce was, yes, equality for all. और केवल बात इक्वालिटी को लेकर के रुकी नहीं है. दुनिया के किसी संविधान के अंतर्गत भाई और बहनों, संविधान के एक विद्यार्थी के नाते मैंने दुनिया के सारे रिटर्न संविधानों का तौलनिक और तुलनात्मक अध्ययन किया. दुनिया के किसी संविधान के अंतर्गत डिफरेंशिएशन और डिमार्केशन के पैरामीटर्स को डिफाइन नहीं किया गया. भारतीय संविधान के अंतर्गत सबसे बड़ी खूबी मैं ये मानता हूं कि इक्वालिटी के वे सारे संदर्भ जहां पर इनइक्वालिटी के कारण प्रस्थापित है सामाजिक मान्यताओं और मूल्यों के अंतर्गत, उनको संविधान ने संवैधानिक तरीके से निर्धारित कर दिया. ये उसकी बहुत बड़ी ताकत है. और उस ताकत के अंतर्गत क्या कहा गया? नो डिफरेंशिएशन, नो डिमार्केशन, नो सेग्रीगेशन ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ, और अब आप गिनती करें, ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ जेंडर, ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ कलर, कास्ट, क्रीड, रिलीजन, फेथ, बिलीफ, ऑक्यूपेशन, वोकेशन, ट्रेड, calling, order, and geographic location. It's not an accident, ladies and gentlemen, this particular list has been incorporated in the Constitution. कुछ तो मजबूरियां रही होंगी, योगी कोई बेवफा नहीं होता। कुछ तो कारण रहे होंगे कि संविधान कर्ताओं को और संविधान परिषदों को यह लिखने पर बाध्य होना पड़ा कि इन आधारों के ऊपर में अंतर्भाव होता होगा, तभी तो लिखा गया। इन अंतर्भावों का प्रचलन था, इसीलिए तो लिखा गया। इन अंतर्भावों का इस्तेमाल किया जाता था, इसीलिए तो लिखा गया। यही वे अंतर्भाव थे जिसके कारण सारी दूरियों के दूरस्थ किनारों के तयशुदा प्रारब्ध लिख दिए जाते थे, इसीलिए लिखा गया। और इसलिए द अंडरलाइनिंग फीचर विच आई एम वांटिंग टू पुट अक्रॉस इज contemplation of equality and equity that we are talking about in terms of the Constitution of India, ladies and gentlemen, is no differentiation on the basis of these illustrated features which are explicitly incorporated in the Constitution. Three important dimensions, ladies and gentlemen, which I referred to. Political equality. One man, one vote, one value incorporated in the Constitution. In terms of democracy, not only as a political system in this country under the Constitution, but democracy as a way of life entitled to every citizen. Therefore, democracy cannot be viewed in the Indian Constitution as a way of political system. It is a hegemony which is required to be created as an antithesis of feudalistic minds ruling this country till then. Therefore, the antithesis of feudalism is the democratic ethos as a way of life guaranteed in the Constitution to every citizen of this country. I am putting these parables, ladies and gentlemen, primarily to draw a point home. And that is, political freedom in terms of vote is demarcated in the Constitution. But then that was not the only guarantee which was enshrined in the Constitution to every citizen of this country. The guarantee was in terms of political equality, social equality, and economic equality. I am putting the two parameters together, socio-economic equality. It is this essence as a part of the right. I am still not talking, Dr. Advocate Buche, in terms of directive principles of state policy. If I really bring that into the focus, perhaps 72 years that we are almost yearning on, we will have to go in for a rethinking on them as to whether really we have been able to achieve things in the desired direction as is contemplated in the directive principles of the state policy. Contemplate आप करें, कुछ बुनियादी चीजों की ओर आप जानते हैं और मैं केवल इशारों के तौर पर कहना चाहता हूं। वो संविधान, वो गणतंत्र जो इस सारी इक्वालिटी का इस देश के अंतर्गत आद्य जनक है, डॉक्टर अंबेडकर के उस वाक्य को मैं आपके सामने स्मरित करना चाहता हूं। 26 नवंबर 1949 को संविधान परिषद के बिहाफ के ऊपर में इस पार्लियामेंट, देश की संसद को संविधान अर्पित करते हुए डॉक्टर अंबेडकर ने एक मार्मिक विवेचन किया है, जिसके अंतर्गत केवल एक चीज की ओर, लघु चीज की ओर आई वुड लाइक टू गिव ए इंडिकेशन। एंड ही सेड, विद दिस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन नाउ being put across as the most holiest and operational document for generation of new India, mind well, we will be entering into an era of contradictions. And I am emphasizing the word contradictions. संवैधानिक भारत 26 जनवरी 1950 जिस इरा के अंतर्गत इस देश को प्रवेशित करता है, उसको लेकर डॉक्टर अंबेडकर भारतीय संविधान के जनक कहते हैं कि नाउ वी आर एंटरिंग इनटू एन इरा ऑफ कॉन्ट्रडिक्शंस। व्हाट आर द कॉन्ट्रडिक्शंस? कौन से विरोधाभास की बात डॉक्टर अंबेडकर करना चाहते हैं? मैं उन्हीं विरोधाभासों की ओर इशारा करना चाहता हूं। विरोधाभास 3 बुनियादी स्वरों के अंतर्गत समझने होंगे। कॉन्ट्रडिक्शंस का तात्पर्य यह था कि नाउ country in terms of its democratic ethos is expected to be giving a befitting answer to in terms of nemesis of feudalism as a mental thought. हम कहां खड़े हैं 26 जनवरी 1950 के बाद आज इन टर्म्स ऑफ फ्यूडलिज्म वर्सेस एब्सोल्युटली डेमोक्रेटिक थॉट इन द कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ लिबरलिज्म हमें और आपको पुनर्विचार करना होगा। जिस वस्तुस्थिति को लेकर हम कहते हैं कि 26 जनवरी हमारा गणतंत्र दिवस, जिस दिन भारतीय संविधान को मान्यता मिलकर के इस देश के अंतर्गत हमने संविधान लागू किया, मित्रों 26 जनवरी के पर्व को लेकर शायर दो पंक्तियों के अंतर्गत इतने वर्षों के अंतराल की व्यथा व्यक्त करते हुए कहता है कि कहां से लाएं जिगर जश्न जनवरी के लिए, कहां से लाएं जिगर जश्न जनवरी के लिए, ठिकाना जब नहीं रोटी का फरवरी के लिए। जब फरवरी की रोटी का ठिकाना ना हो, फरवरी की रोजी का ठिकाना ना हो, जब फरवरी की परवरिश की कहीं कोई गुंजाइश ना हो, तो मित्रों कहीं न कहीं 26 जनवरी का तकाजा भी एक छोटा सा बहाना नजर आने लगता है। ये व्यथा आज अंतर मन के अंतर्गत खड़ी है। कौन सी व्यथा का चिंतन रहा होगा जिसको लेकर शायर अपनी भावना को व्यक्त करते हुए हकीकत को उजागर कर देता है कि तन की हविश मन को गुनहगार बना देती है, बाग के बाग को बीमार बना देती है। अरे भूखे पेटों को देशभक्ति सिखाने वालों, भूख इंसान को गद्दार बना देती है। Contemplations have to be borne in mind. Facts have to be taken into consideration. यथार्थ के साथ में आंख मिचौलियां संभव नहीं है और यथार्थ को परमार्थ के आधार पर निभाए चुकने का इजाफा संविधान इजाजत के तौर पर नहीं देता। Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I view trade union movement of this country as one of the greatest armories of invocation of equity, honor, esteem, dignity and self-respect, at least for a section of citizenship of this country, if not for whole. It's in that context, बोबाटे जी, I accepted this invitation. कि जिंदगी के अंतर्गत एक साधारण नागरिक को भी इस बात का अधिकार है कि वो आकर के आपकी इस पृष्ठभूमि, आपके इस इतिहास, आपकी इस पूरी की पूरी क्रियाकलाप की शैली AIBE के नाम के अंतर्गत जैसे महाप्रयाण को आपने परियोजना के साथ में एक ऐतिहासिक संदर्भ में ला करके खड़ा किया, उसका अनुमोदन करने के लिए नहीं, आपका अभिनंदन करने के लिए नहीं, पर एक सामान्य नागरिक की हैसियत से आपका अभिवादन करने के लिए मैंने ये आपका निमंत्रण स्वीकार किया। इसलिए मैं अभिवादन के तौर पर आपका इस्तकबाल करने के लिए खड़ा हूं। The glorious history of the trade union movement of this country, the sacrificial tendencies incorporated by the leadership of the trade union in this country, the equity invocation which has been the parable of the trade union movement of this country, and especially this equity in the domain of the banking sector, which is expected to be the most significant part of financial economy of this country, which ultimately turns out to be the most governing factor. It's not just a question of wages. It's not just a question of emoluments. It's not just a question of small time of ways of earnings and livings. There are 5 important things which have to be taken note of, ladies and gentlemen. When you are contemplating an escape from feudalistic psyche and mind, it is not the annihilation of the feudal psyche, but it is tackling the feudal psyche, which needs collective strength, which needs, there cannot be any alternative to unity, as stated by Comrade Bardhan, which means in spite of a weak man getting organized, individual bargaining may not be of any connotation, but then this country was given the language of collective bargaining, which turned out to be the soul of equity and equitability in this country. What is that collective bargaining, ladies and gentlemen? Who gave the lessons of collective bargaining in this country? सामूहिक ताकत के असबाब का एक वेपन नहीं है ये, सामूहिक ताकत के सह अस्तित्व का एक चिंतन है जो जीवन के अंतर्गत इक्वालिटी को प्रस्थापित करने की एक कला न होकर वह एक विधा है। ये मुझ जैसा एक अदना सा व्यक्ति आपके बीच कहना चाहता है। It's in that context, ladies and gentlemen, a huge invocation of the change in the miserable lives of the exploited human beings, which bears a testimony. What was the way out? The way out was struggle in collectivity. The way out was assertion in collectivity. The way out was working out an invocation of a collective bargaining. It was not a jhanda or danda. It was something more which was at stake. It was not an ideology, or it was not just an edifice of a thoughtfulness. It was sustenance of values of life in order to make the life valuable. And that is exactly what values of life have been guaranteed in the constitution I was referring to. इंसानी जिंदगी केवल और केवल वेजिटेटिव लाइफ की अधिकारी नहीं है, ladies and gentlemen. The ambit of Article 21, which has been pronounced by a historical judgment of 13 judges way back in 1985, the ambit and scope of Article 21 has been enunciated. Article 21 guarantees life and liberty to every citizen. Every citizen is entitled to life and liberty. But then, the constitutional bench put three questions to itself. Can life mean vegetative life? Can life mean non-dignified life? Can life mean non-decent life? And the bench unanimously said, although Article 21 in terms of its analogy of words may not be including explicitly, it's a guarantee to life and liberty, but that guarantee cannot end up in meaning guarantee to vegetative life. That guarantee cannot end up in meaning life which is absolutely at the lowest pedestal. That cannot mean a life which is indignified life. That cannot mean a life which is indecent life. And therefore, the pronouncement was that Article 21, in spite of its non-expression, has to be read as a guarantee for decent and dignified life is the ambit of Article 21. The trade union struggle of this country, ever since its inception till date, and maybe for all times to come, primarily in my humble opinion, ladies and gentlemen, is a struggle not just for life, a struggle for decent and dignified life. Therefore, decency and dignity, which are interwoven in the essence of life, they make life valuable. And in that context, again, I am tempted back to refer what Dr. Ambedkar, addressing the Constituent Assembly on Article 16 when it was put across for discussion and adoption, made a very historical speech. And he said, over a period of time, in n number of names, at the name of societal ethos, in the name of societal values, in the name of culture, in the name of traditions, in the name of belief, in the name of ethical conduct culturally imposed, we have denied average men, poor men, weak men from 5 important things. And that denial is not a denial of living. It is not just a denial of wages. It's not just a denial of earnings. It is a denial of 5 things, and he catalogued those 5 things, ladies and gentlemen. I am putting them across in the same order as it was put across by Dr. Ambedkar. He said, we have denied them of A, honor, esteem, prestige, dignity, and self-respect. These are the 5 important denials, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, it is not just a question of putting this across कि मैं आपको आपकी इज्जत बख्शी कर रहा हूँ. इज्जत बख्शी दान और खैरात में नहीं मिलती. इज्जत बख्शी समकक्ष व्यवहार के अंतर्गत होती है, उसे इज्जत बख्शी कहते हैं. इज्जत बख्शी न शिकायत की मोहताज है, न इनायत का दरकार रखती है. इज्जत बख्शी तो आई रेस्पेक्ट यू in the same vein as you are to respect me. That is इज्जत बख्शी. इज्जत बख्शी का तकाजा डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर कहते उन्होंने नेपोलियन हिल को कोट किया था अपने उस व्याख्यान के अंतर्गत कि आई एम नॉट बॉर्न टू लिव टू योर एक्सपेक्टेशंस, nor you are expected to be born to be living to my expectation, because you are you and I am I. You are not because of me, hence I am not because of you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is this essence, it is this takaza, it is this एनालिटिकल राइटफुल डिपिक्शन। मैं तेरा दरकार रखता हूं, पर यह न समझ कि मैं तेरे दर पर मोहताजी के साथ खड़ा हूं। दरकार होगा मेरा तेरा, पर मोहताजी मेरा तेरे लिए नहीं है। इट इज दैट इसेंस ऑफ डिग्निटी। लाइफ विदाउट डिग्निटी is an animal life. Life without honor is a vegetative life. Life without self-respect is absolutely a miserable life, and therefore a life which is bereft of honor, esteem, dignity, prestige and self-respect is an enslaved, caged and a prisoner's life. This country cannot be a prison when it comes to life and liberty. This country has to be a place of vibrancy with humanity and humanism, where honor, esteem, dignity, self-respect and 5 parameters and values of life, they are absolutely freely flowing, not in terms of accessibility, availability, but as a matter of claimability. Accessibility, affordability, availability, ये सारी चीजें मोहताजी के तकाजे पे खड़ी होती हैं। It is that ethos, ladies and gentlemen, which in reality, ये thought है, पर thoughts बिना प्रयास के कभी हकीकतों के अंतर्गत रूपांतरित नहीं होते। It's in that context, ladies and gentlemen, as an ordinary citizen of this country, I always view trade union movement of this country as one of the very significant armories, weaponries, modalities of invocation of what was guaranteed in the Constitution. Maybe what Constitution on its own was not in a position to provide through, it was provided through, or it was capable of providing through, on the vehicle of trade union movement of this country, resulting in extension of honor, esteem, dignity, prestige and self-respect. Therefore, this gathering of committed soldiers, not of just AIBEA, committed soldiers who are committed to restoration of honor, restoration of esteem, restoration of dignity, restoration of self-respect as values of a decent and dignified life, guaranteed to every bank employee anywhere and everywhere in this country. AIBA is the custodian of restoration of the same, come what may, at all costs, in all ways, at all times. That is the essence, and hence, permit me, ladies and gentlemen, I therefore view trade union movement of this country, independent of the shade and color, as a complementary state under Article 12 of the Constitution of India. State is defined in Article 12. State is the custodian of welfare of the people of this country. Welfare parameters, 18 in number, have been crystallized in 1952 by expert committee report. Achievement and actualization of these 18 parameters to every citizen is the realistic manifestation of the welfare state defined under Article 12. Any agency, any way, any modality which is catering to the cause, what state is to cater to, in my humble opinion, is no less than a state, but there cannot be a state within the state under Article 12. Therefore, state as a custodian of the welfare state in this country under the Constitution, I have no hesitation in saying trade unions like AIBEA, in my opinion, as a student of the Constitution of India who knows the ambit of Article 12, I have no hesitation in putting this across that at least I view this as a complementary state within the scope and meaning of Article 12 of the Constitution of India. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing moves with the history. इतिहास का सोज्वल होना ये उज्जवल भविष्य की गारंटी नहीं होती। इतिहास उज्जवल है, परंतु उज्जवल इतिहास ये अगर मान करके चले कि अब वर्तमान के अंतर्गत वो सब कुछ है जिसे लेकर भविष्य की चिंता की आवश्यकता नहीं है, यथार्थ इससे परे है। आज बैंकिंग इंडस्ट्री, आज बैंकिंग सेटअप निश्चित तौर पर कहीं न कहीं एक ऐसे तकाजे पर खड़ा है जहां पर कुछ यक्ष प्रश्न हैं जिनके उत्तर सामयिकता के साथ नहीं मिले हैं और इन उत्तरों का उत्तरदायित्व किस पर है, इसको भी लेकर निर्धारित चीजों का निर्धारण नहीं हो पा रहा है। मैं 3 बुनियादी चीजों की ओर आपका ध्यान आकर्षित करना चाहूंगा, आपका ध्यान उन पर है ही। आज एक बहुत बड़ा मसला निश्चित तौर पर खड़ा है। देश जिस पब्लिक यूटिलिटी सिस्टम से शुरू हुआ था, जिस पब्लिक सेक्टर प्रपोजिशन के साथ शुरू हुआ था, जिस पब्लिक सेक्टर का प्रपोजिशन वेलफेयर स्टेट की एक वन ऑफ द इंपॉर्टेंट इंस्ट्रूमेंटैलिटीज के रूप में हम 26 जनवरी 1950 को और स्पेशली 1952 से लेकर पंचवार्षिक योजनाओं के तहत हम शुरू हुए थे, आज हम निश्चित तौर पर उस क्रम में कहीं न कहीं या तो दिग्भ्रमित हैं या संभ्रमित हैं। आज एक बहुत बड़ा संघर्ष पब्लिक सेक्टर यूनिट्स वर्सेस प्राइवेटाइजेशन, इसको लेकर के हमारे सामने खड़ा है। अनेक एडवांटेजेस और डिसएडवांटेजेस इसके गिनाए जानते हैं, मैं उनकी मीमांसाओं के अंतर्गत नहीं जा रहा हूं, पर मैं 3 प्रमुख बिंदुओं को, जिसको एक चिकित्सक, विद्यार्थी, एक जागरूक नागरिक की हैसियत से मैंने बहुत तन्मयता से देखा, परखा, जाना, समझा, अध्ययन के साथ आकलित करने का प्रयास किया है। मैं 3 मुद्दों की ओर आकर्षित करना चाहता हूं। क्या इस देश की बैंकिंग इंडस्ट्री को नॉन परफॉर्मिंग एसेट्स का खतरा है अथवा नहीं, इसका विचार करना होगा। NPAs in a banking industry cannot be a conducive affair. It was never, it is not now, and it cannot be at any point of time. Therefore, NPA is a matter of concern. पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंकिंग के अंतर्गत कहीं न कहीं आज कैपिटल एडिक्वेसी रेशो, क्या ये हमारे लिए चिंता का विषय नहीं है? हमें नए सिरे से इसके ऊपर में आकलन का विचार करना होगा। कैपिटल एडिक्वेसी रेशियो निश्चित तौर के ऊपर में केवल बैंकिंग इंडस्ट्री के लिए नहीं, देश की बैलेंसिंग ऑफ इकोनॉमी के लिए, देश के इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ के लिए, देश की इकोनॉमिक प्रोस्पेरिटी के लिए, आने वाली पीढ़ियों के लिए NPAs and capital adequacy ratios, these are the 2 important things which will have to be addressed, and it cannot be addressed unilaterally by those who think that they are capable of doing everything on their own. There has to be a joint thought, modalities, approaches, commitments, way outs, which have to be taken note of, which have to be diligently thought of. It cannot be you on that side and I on this side. It cannot be we both together. These are national problems. These are national issues. The banking industry today definitely is standing at a huge crossroad, and especially public sector units banking, where the NPAs definitely have crossed the permissible limit substantially. It cannot be taken to be a positive and a pragmatic sign, and therefore it has to be taken with a pinch of salt. The erosion of the capital adequacy ratio, the way it has dwindled, is that dwindling ratio not a matter of shaking the very root and edifice of a solid concrete footing on which the whole of the banking industry is expected to stand on. It indeed a problem which has to be taken note of. But yet, any visualization on this particular count in terms of pragmatic framework, the onus of that has to be taken up by all concerned, including enlightened minds whom I have the benefit of addressing today. It's something which tomorrow if posterity asks, कि काश उस समय इन मूलभूत प्रश्नों की ओर योग्य ध्यान दे करके इन्हें समायोजित कर लिया गया होता, तो आने वाले भविष्य को इन तकाजों के ऊपर में खड़े होने की नौबत ना आती. These are the concerns not only of today. These are the concerns which are going to affect the future India in a huge way. Therefore, they have to be taken up definitely with a sense of concern. The third important dimension where it is being put across, कि बस PSUs में अब कुछ नहीं रखा है, privatization is the only answer. Ladies and gentlemen, मैं आपको 2021 की रिसर्च, बैंकिंग रिसर्च डिवीजन RBI, इसका रिपोर्ट आपके सामने रख करके बताना चाहता हूं. What is the conclusion which has been drawn thereof? They have categorically said, privatization cannot be taken as an answer to all the panacea of ills plaguing the banking industry. मैं नहीं कह रहा, This is the 2021 report of Banking Research Division, RBI India, which says so. Therefore, a judicious blend between the two, including certain workable modalities, 5 in number which have been proposed, they are the ones which have been put across. Can you turn a blind side to certain important facts? That you talk of India as a whole. हम लोग बड़े शौक से कहते हैं कि हिंदुस्तान एक ऐसा देश है जो 2 चीज़ों में विभाजित है. इसमें एक इंडिया है, इसमें एक भारत है. मैं आज भी पूछना चाहता हूँ और बहुत जिम्मेदारी से आपसे कह रहा हूँ, ऑफिशियल फिगर्स नहीं पर कलेक्टेड फिगर्स मेरे पास हैं, मैं लेकर के आया हूँ. आज इस देश के अंतर्गत सबसे बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण प्रयोजन जो इकोनॉमिक इक्वालिटी भारतीय संविधान के अंतर्गत गारंटी है, उसमें उसका एक सबसे बड़ा प्रामाणिक इनिशिएटिव क्या है? इंक्लूसिव बैंकिंग. एवरीबडी बैंकिंग टू बी रीच टू एवरी सिटीजन ब्रॉट इनटू द बैंकिंग फोल्ड. प्रधानमंत्री जन धन योजना स्वागतार्ह है. आज आपको 2022-23 का फिगर मेरे पास नहीं, 2022 31st of March, end of the financial year 22-23, 46 crores 26 lakhs 812 citizens were in the banking fold. This is only the cumulative depiction. 34.6% of this, that is 46 crores people were under the banking fold, of which 34.6 crores were under PSUs. Public sector banking accounted for 34 crore 62 lakh out of a total of 46 crore in terms of inclusive banking in Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. As against 34.6 crores, private sector banking had a contribution of only 1.3 crores. 34.6 crore versus 1.3 crores. This is the contribution which is put across in the inclusive financial incorporation of banking in terms of the picture which I am putting across as on 31st of March 2022. What does this indicate? Is it not an indicator that even in terms of the inclusive population with reference to banking, the PSUs have absolutely their net, absolutely their arms, which have been conducive to not only just putting them into our Pradhan Mantri Arogya Jan Dhan Yojana, putting them into that banking, putting them into that financial proposition, putting them into that financial saving, putting them into that financial security, which ultimately is paving the way for economic equality in the society as a currency for dignity, esteem, prestige, and self-respect. It is that connotation which I am wanting to put across. One more important parable cannot be lost sight of. We all say that finally a developing country getting converted into a developed country in terms of the world parlance, in terms of the various indices and parameters that world economy has framed. It cannot be by daydreaming. It cannot be by sloganeering. It has to be by absolutely diligent incorporated plans. Infrastructure development turns out to be therefore one of the cardinal features of Indian transformation to higher echelons of being a developed country. And if that is taken as a parameter, ladies and gentlemen, the highest bank lendings for infrastructure development, the contribution from public sector banking is 83.6% of the entire country in the 14th five-year plan. Now this is, I am telling you, is something which has to be brought, which has to be highlighted, which has to be put across. Ki those who are propaganda की नाही efficiency फार problematic आहे आणि त्याच्यात manpower इतकं जास्त आहे आणि त्याचं salaryचं overburden इतकं मोठं आहे की ते sustain करणं कठीण आहे. All these protagonists, all these propagations which are being put across, there is a parallel face to it which is far more brighter, which is far more poignant, which is far more contributive, which has got a human face, which has got a national and international consequence. It has to be put with force. It has to be put with conviction. It has to be put across absolutely with facts and figures. And hey, facts and figures, you and me have not worked out. These are the facts and figures which are official, which are borne out from the government records, which are borne out from the governmental document that I am wanting to read and I am wanting to put across. There is a parallel face, nay, a far brighter face, a far poignant face, a far elegant face. It has to be put across. Because society has to make believe that ultimately it is the public sector banking which has been so judicious, which has been so reasonable, which has been so pragmatic, which has been so comfortable, which has been so conducive, and which has been virtually a co-partner in the entire economic development of this country. It is that picture which is realistic in nature. This is not imaginative. This is not fabricated. This is not fictitious which I am wanting to put across. This is borne out from the records. But yet, there are matters of concern which cannot be lost sight of. If you take into consideration market book ratio, one of the important features of the developmental proposition, should it not be a matter of concern? The figures which have been put across at the end of the 14th five-year plan appraisal, they are startling. 1 rupee in public sector banking in terms of market to book ratio fetches only 71 paise. It is not even equivalent in terms of the same proposition. As against, in a private sector bank, 1 rupee put is fetching a market to book ratio of 3.70 rupees. A startling difference. 1 rupee ending up in 71 paise versus 1 rupee ending up in 3.70 rupees. The difference is huge. It is here the non-performing assets. They are eating into the vitals of the public sector banking, cannot be lost sight of. It is these concerns, ladies and gentlemen. Just as there is one side of the story in terms of public catering which is huge and gigantic, but simultaneously there is an other side of the story which definitely is equally startling. You cannot see the assets of one side cannot tide over the liabilities of other. Balance sheets, you know better than me, balance sheets have to be worked out in a balanced manner, and it is not an imbalance which is to be balanced. It is a balance which is to be balanced. Therefore, one of the important manifestations which I thought I must share with this learned gathering, and it's not a matter of concern to me only, it's a matter of concern to every citizen who understands econometrics in the realistic sense. Why is it that 1 rupee which is put across of my saving with all the public sector units, it ends up in fetching from the book market ratio only 71 naya paisa? What is happening to even the 29 naya paisa loss? Where exactly it is going? What are the reasons for its pilferage? Where exactly it missing? It is not a book entry that you are expected to be transferring in terms of the book adjustment. It's a realistic deficit. It's a deficit which is not in terms of earning the required dividends that it is supposed to. Can it happen that 1 rupee earning 1 rupee back is understandable? But 1 rupee ending up in 71 naya paisa, who is to sustain the brunt of loss of this 29 naya paisa is $1 million question. And imagine this 29 naya paisa in 1 year, in a 5-year block, ultimately ends up into what? It ends up into 25% of the erosion of the core capital banking. And that is the reason why capital adequacy ratio is dwindling. It's a setback. It's definitely a threat. It is definitely posing a realistic danger in the sense of econometrics. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, there are huge bright sopan jalamimanto. There are n number of the huge chapters, but the concerns which are there plaguing collectively, they also have to be addressed. They cannot be let down. They have to decide. Who are they? The beauty of the Indian Constitution, ladies and gentlemen, again I am back to, because all these answers, all these poses that we put across, they have been sumptuously answered. Dr. Ambedkar, while praising the Constitution and giving his final speech, he said, with this, please try to understand the opening word, phrase that has been used in this Constitution. And he goes to say, this is not a constitution, ladies and gentlemen, which I has given to you, which you has given to he, which he has given to she, which she has given to it, and it has given to they. This constitution is not I's constitution. It's not you's constitution. It's not his constitution. It's not she's constitution. It's not its constitution. It's not they's constitution. It's a constitution of we, the people of this country. The greatest parable which is put across, the only language, that only constitutional language which Indians should know is not you, not I, not he, not she, not it, not they. We, the people of this country. Therefore, there is nothing like they will think about it. No, we have to think about it, because constitutional language is, this country is of we, the people of India. Therefore, it is the will of the people of India, collectively in the form of we, the people of India, which is the constitutional language. Therefore, when we are talking of a book to market ratio, we should be concerned about it. When we are talking of capital inadequacy ratio, capital adequacy ratio, it should be a concern of we, the people of India. And when we are talking about absolutely the non-performing assets, whose assets they are. Non-performing assets ultimately are whose assets? They are the assets of the weak, poor men of this country, depositing with trust with you and ultimately ending up in me depositing, they using, and they abusing it permanently, not to be getting me back what I am expected to get back. It's bank saving is not a kickback, ladies and gentlemen. It should be a kick to the kickback, which should be a real answer. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, my humble plea to this erudite gathering is, मैं आपको अत्यंत विनम्रता से कहना चाहता हूँ, इसलिए मैंने आपसे पहले ही कहा, आप जैसे जागरूक, आप जैसे चेतनामयी, आप जैसे प्रतिबद्धित, आप जैसे अनुशासित लोगों को मैंने आकर के कुछ कहना, न इसका मेरे पास में औचित्य है, न इतनी मेरे पास क्षमता है, न इतनी मेरे पास में लियाकत है, न काबिलियत है। पर अल्टीमेटली इस देश के अंतर्गत यह जो व्यवस्था को लेकर के कहीं न कहीं एक नागरिक की हैसियत से यक्ष प्रश्न जो मैं देख रहा हूं, इन यक्ष प्रश्नों को उजागर करने के लिए भी कहीं न कहीं योग्य सभा की आवश्यकता है। और आज मुझे ऐसा लगा कि AIBE के इस छत्र के नीचे परवाना भवन से बेहतर वो जमीन नहीं हो सकती थी जहां एक सामान्य नागरिक का रुदन, जागरूक, चेतनामयी नेतृत्व न सुने। इसलिए मैं अपना एक राष्ट्र के ओर से मेमोरेंडम लेकर के आपके पास में आया हूं, और इस मेमोरेंडम को मैं एक अपने संवैधानिक अधिकार की तहत मैं कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री स्टेट को समर्पित करने के लिए आया हूं कि कोर स्टेट मेरा अधिकार है, I can take them to the court of law, but complementary state, I cannot take them anywhere. I can only get to their heart, and I can get their heart extended to me in the spirit of we, the people of this country. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, we are the custodian of we, the people of this country. 14 अगस्त 1947 के बाद 15 अगस्त 1947 की सुबह आज़ादी के जश्न और पर्व के अंतर्गत स्वतंत्र भारत का झंडा तिरंगा लाल किले की प्राचीर से फहराया गया। इस देश का राष्ट्रपिता, जिसके नेतृत्व में आज़ादी का आंदोलन लड़ा गया, जो इस देश की आज़ादी का जनक था, उस समारंभ के अंतर्गत लाल किले की प्राचीर पर तिरंगे को फहराने के समय प्राचीर उसके हाथ में नहीं थी, वो उपस्थित नहीं था। वो दूर किसी नोआखली के अंतर्गत हिंदू मुस्लिम राइट के प्रति समर्पित भाव के साथ इस देश के सामूहिक एकता के चिंतन का अलख जगा रहा था। उस समय ब्रिटिश करस्पॉन्डेंट विलियम टॉड, उन्होंने एक सवाल पूछा था बापू से, बापू, इंडिया हैज बिकम फ्री, people are celebrating Independence Day of free India, which is your creation there at everywhere. What are you doing here? And he said, I am continuing to cater to the cause of now free Mother India. The next question was, Bapu, what does this independence mean to you? ये स्वतंत्रता बापू आपके लिए क्या अर्थ और मायने रखती है? And ladies and gentlemen, the answer which he gave, I am putting into your lap. Answer Bapu gave was, to me, free India means only, मेरे लिए आजाद भारत का अर्थ केवल इतना है कि दूरस्थ कोने के अंतर्गत अत्यंत कमजोरतम आदमी के व्यथा से कारण निकले हुए आंसू उसकी आंख से गाल पर आने के पहले पोंछ दिए जाएं, यही मेरे लिए आजादी का मायना रखता है. टू मी freedom only means that, and that's exactly, ladies and gentlemen, the ambit of we the people of this country. We के अंतर्गत वो weakest of the weak भी आता है, we के अंतर्गत वो poorest of the poor भी आता है, we के अंतर्गत वो remotest of the remote भी आता है. It's in that context, let us rise for we, the people of this country, in the spirit of we, the people of this country, for the spirit of we, the people of this country. जिएंगे तो we के लिए, मरेंगे तो we के लिए. That is the essence which is required to be inculcated, invigorated, lived and demonstrated to be living without claiming any certification from anybody of our Rashtra Bhakti. Thank you very much.
In a very loquacious style, Ved Prakash Mishra ruled our mind and heart for almost 1 hour and 10 minutes. I have no words to thank him. Initially I said कि आप उनको सुनने के बाद ही पता चलेगा कि वेद प्रकाश से मिश्रा क्या चीज़ है. यानी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन तो हमने भी पढ़ी है, सभी ने पढ़ी है, लेकिन उसका इंटरप्रिटेशन उनकी लैंग्वेज में आज मैंने जो सुना, he really mesmerized us. No words, simply I say thank you Ved Mishra. He has no time, he has to live. एक मिनट, एक परवाना भवन के जो हमारे मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर है वो सिर्फ 2 मिनट बात करना चाहते हैं, उनकी रिक्वेस्ट है. आई कॉल बुचे जी, मैनेजिंग ट्रस्टी ऑफ परवाना भवन, and he is a close friend of Ved Prakash also.
आदरणीय मंच, dignitaries in the audience, and my dear friends and comrades, the thunderous applause that we all gave for such a momentous speech of Comrade Ved Prakash Mishra, I'm sorry, for Dr. Ved Prakash Mishra, I think speak volumes, and I don't have words to speak out anything. Only for a couple of minutes I will say that Dr. Ved Prakash Mishra is an academician par excellence and is a very popular figure in not only the academic circles, in the social fields, not only in this city of Nagpur, not only in our state of Maharashtra, not only in central India, but in the whole of India. In fact, he is ruling Delhi today. Let me tell you that I have had the occasion, I consider myself fortunate enough to be associated with him in the affairs and management of the Nagpur University when I was in the Senate and Executive Council. And I have seen for myself how powerful, what a fighter he is. I'm only one word I will tell you. I saw that day Modi's performance in the parliament against that presidential speech. There you must have seen in the TV, ek versus all. Let me tell you, I can't give more, but in university I have seen him. Even if entire academic council, Senate, Executive Council go against him, he fought relentlessly and he proved himself his mettle, and today he is topmost. I am really fortunate enough, and I am very proud also that in our Parvana Bhavan he came. So for that purpose, I really thank Comrade Bobade for having invited him on this august occasion. Now, I being the managing trustee, let me tell you that we are going to organize very many functions, and I am really tempted to invite him for such marathon discussions. In fact, that is not a speech. That is a feast of words, feast of thoughts, and it has no parallel. So, on behalf of Comrade H.L. Parvana Memorial Trust and all of you, I really thank him, and I thank Comrade Bobate also for this. Only a word I will say. Sorry, I got a bad throat. Yesterday, Comrade Venkatachalam, in our inaugural session, he delivered a speech. There, we have got so many programs. Only one announcement I would like to make, that in the time to come, we are going to have so many functions, programs, the training programs. वेद प्रकाश जी, मैं आपके जानकारी के लिए ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि ये जो परवाना भवन हमने बनाया है, तो परवाना जो ऐसा आदमी था कि जो शादी किया नहीं, यूनियन ऑफिस में सोता था, एंड यू प्रेज द बैंक एम्प्लॉइज एंड द AIBA ट्रेड यूनियन लीडर्स, बट द एंटायर क्रेडिट गोज टू परवाना. And this hall is named by Bardhan. Because of Bardhan, this Parvana Memorial Trust could come up. So I will only say that we have had so many programs in the Parvana Bhavan, but today's speech, I have no parallel to compare. Today's speech was so nice that I think as a trust, we are really happy to host such a program, have such a speech, which will be not only conducive to the goals and objects of the trade union, but also from the point of view of promoting national interest and national integration under the Constitution, which was framed by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. The last word I would like to give, that for last 3 days you are here, Comrade Bobate and all others, who is the architect of the conference, as Comrade Venkatachalam has rightly put it, taken all care. But still, if some sufferings and some hardships you have had, we are sorry for it. In the days to come, we are going to improve things, and in the next year, if you come, you will find a different picture. Lastly, I, on behalf of Comrade H.L. Parvana Memorial Trust, extend all of you my warm and profound greetings, and definitely thank the leadership of All India Union that you have taken a wise decision to hold this conference here, and we are there to serve your cause. Before I depart, I must say, I must place on record that persons like VED PRAKASH Mishra should come up in the policy making forums of the country. That is my sincere desire, and let all of us give the warm greetings to him. Thank you very much.